When you sent over this material on Barron Trump's speech,
Mhm.
I have to admit I was a little skeptical at first.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, is this really going to be deep dive worthy?
Right.
But after going through these articles and watching the footage, I'm actually pretty intrigued
Yeah.
to think that one speech from someone who's been so private for so long
hmm
could cause such a stir.
Yeah. It's interesting. What's fascinating is how he kind of flips the script on what we expect
Yeah,
from a political figure,
totally.
especially, one bearing the Trump name.
Right.
He steps onto the stage and there's no warm-up act,
Yeah.
no pleasantries.
Yeah.
Just throws down this gauntlet.
Yeah.
I know what you expect from me and you're wrong.
And that silence after he says, "You're wrong,"
Oh, yeah.
it's palpable. You can feel it.
Absolutely.
He's not rushing to fill the space.
Nick.
He's letting that statement sink in.
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice how the audience actually leans in? It's like they're physically pulled in by the anticipation.
That's the genius of what's called a pregnant pause.
Mm-hmm.
It creates tension and forces the audience to become active participants rather than passive listeners.
Right. They're not just sitting back and, with their arms crossed.
Exactly.
They're leaning forward. They're
Yeah.
waiting
Mm-hmm.
with bated breath.
They have to know what comes next.
And that what comes next is even more surprising.
Yeah.
He doesn't launch into a typical political diatribe.
Right.
He starts talking about the exhaustion of division
Mm-hmm.
and the need for actual listening,
Yes.
even when it's uncomfortable.
And that's where he really starts to dismantle those preconceived notions
Yeah.
about who he is and what he represents.
Right.
Because, everybody's waiting for that classic Trump playbook.
Uh-huh. The attacks, the bravado.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And instead he offers vulnerability.
And even uses his personal experience to connect with the audience.
Yes.
Talks about being judged and boxed in his whole life just because of his last name.
Yep.
And it's a clever way to turn this idea of privilege, which is usually used to criticize him,
Right.
into a shared experience of being misunderstood.
Absolutely. He's not saying his life has been hard,
Right.
but he's acknowledging that burden of assumptions.
Yeah.
And he even gives a specific example. I think he recalls a time when a teacher automatically assumed he wouldn't understand a complex concept
Oh, really?
because of his family's wealth.
Wow.
And then he goes on to explain how that moment kind of fueled his desire to prove people wrong,
Huh.
not through defiance, but through genuine understanding.
So it's almost like he's reclaiming that narrative and
Yeah.
saying, okay, you think you know me, but you don't.
Exactly.
Let me show you who I really am.
Mm.
It's brilliant how he takes this potentially divisive issue
Yeah.
and turns it into a call for empathy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing the victim.
Right.
He's inviting the audience to consider how they, too,
Yes.
might be making assumptions about others.
Exactly. And this message of unity
Yeah.
is powerful on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But what really elevates it, I think, is this unexpected endorsement from Michelle Obama,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yeah, that's huge.
That's huge.
That's big.
Yeah. It's almost unthinkable, right? Michelle Obama,
Right.
someone who's been so critical of the Trump administration,
Yeah.
is praising Barron's message about listening.
Yeah.
It just throws gasoline on an already burning fire.
It definitely forces people on both sides of the aisle to kind of hit pause and reconsider.
Right.
If Michelle Obama, a figure who embodies liberal values,
Yeah.
can find common ground with Barron Trump on this issue,
Yeah.
then where does that leave everyone else?
Well, I think it really speaks to this deep hunger for authenticity and leadership.
Yeah.
People are tired of the political games, the constant bickering, the echo chambers of social media.
Right.
And Barron's message resonates because it feels genuine,
Yeah.
like it's coming from a place of real conviction.
And it's not just the content of the speech that's captivating.
Right.
It's his delivery.
Mm-hmm.
You pointed out that pregnant pause earlier. But there's also this quiet intensity about him.
Yes.
He's not shouting. He's not, waving his arms around or anything. He's
Right.
just speaking with this calm conviction that draws you in.
It's a real contrast to the bombastic style we've come to expect from, his father.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's consciously rejecting that approach
Yeah.
and choosing instead to connect with the audience through sincerity and vulnerability.
And that's what makes the media frenzy after the speech so interesting.
Right.
I mean, you've got cable news exploding with debates,
Oh.
social media trends going through the roof, polls are shifting dramatically. Everybody's trying to figure out, You know, was it genuine? What were his motives? Is this the start of something bigger?
That uncertainty is key, I think,
Okay.
to the speech's impact,
Uh-huh.
because it generates curiosity and it keeps the conversation going. You know, he doesn't try to control the narrative
Right.
or offer any explanation.
He just drops the mic and walks away.
Exactly. He lets the speech speak for itself,
Yeah.
which only adds to the intrigue.
And it's so fascinating to see all the different interpretations emerge.
Oh, yeah.
You know, some people see this as a calculated move to rehabilitate the Trump family name.
Right.
Others believe it's a sign that a new generation
Right.
is ready to bridge the political divide. And then you've got others who just think it's a cynical ploy
Yeah.
to manipulate public opinion.
That's the beauty of a speech like this.
Okay.
It acts as a mirror,
Uh-huh.
reflecting the hopes, fears, and biases
Yeah.
of those who hear it,
Wow.
and in a way that makes it even more powerful.
Okay.
Because it's not just a statement.
Yeah.
It's a catalyst for introspection and dialogue.
But there's one reaction that I found particularly intriguing, and that's the shift in his approval ratings.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Before the speech, they were abysmal, you know, mirroring the general sentiment towards the Trump family.
Right.
But after the speech, they skyrocket.
Wow.
People who were ready to write him off are suddenly intrigued,
Huh.
even supportive.
That's the power of defying expectations.
Yeah.
He presented himself as something completely different from what people anticipated.
Right?
And that created a cognitive dissonance that forced them to reevaluate their assumptions.
So he challenged the narrative.
Yeah,
And in doing so, he opened up a space for genuine curiosity and connection.
exactly. And that's the real question here.
Okay.
Is this just a fleeting moment?
Yeah.
A blip on the radar? Or does it signal a genuine shift
Right.
in the political landscape? Has he tapped into something deeper?
Yeah.
A yearning for unity and understanding
Right.
that transcends traditional party lines.
You know, one thing that really struck me was how he managed to cut through the noise by advocating for listening.
Right.
It's almost ironic, isn't it? In a world dominated by shouting matches and echo chambers, the person who advocates for listening
Yeah.
becomes the one everyone is suddenly listening to.
It's like he subverted the whole system.
Yeah.
You know, in a world where everyone is vying for attention,
Right.
he got it by advocating for the opposite,
Huh. Interesting.
to step back and hear what others have to say.
And then to go silent
Right.
after the speech?
Exactly.
No victory lap, no interviews,
Nothing.
no attempt to capitalize on this momentum he's created.
That's like he dropped a bomb and just walked away.
Yeah, it really keeps people guessing.
It does.
You know, it fuels all this speculation.
Oh, absolutely.
And forces everyone to really grapple with what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a one-time thing,
Yeah.
or is this the beginning of a strategy?
Right.
Is he carefully plotting his next move, or just letting things settle?
Who knows?
It makes you wonder about his future.
Yeah.
What if this speech was a test,
Okay.
a way to gauge public reaction before he jumps into the political arena?
It's possible.
I mean, he's young.
Hmm.
He's got the name recognition.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's got this air of mystery and intrigue.
That's a potent combination.
Think about the impact on the Republican Party.
Oh, yeah.
Could he be the bridge between the Trump base and more moderate conservatives?
Could be.
Maybe a new era of Republican politics?
Yeah. One now.
Less about divisive rhetoric,
Right.
more about finding common ground.
Yeah. Or maybe he breaks the mold completely.
Oh, interesting.
Creates his own movement.
Okay.
Something totally new
Yeah.
that goes beyond the two-party system.
I mean, he's already proven he can grab the nation's attention,
Yeah.
spark a national conversation.
It's fascinating to think about.
It really is.
It shows how unpredictable things have become.
Yeah.
The old rules don't apply anymore.
Right.
Someone like Barron,
Yeah.
with his background and this message,
Mhm.
he could really shake things up.
So we've gone from a predictable figure to someone who's commanding the nation's attention with a message of unity and listening.
It's remarkable.
He's got the name, the potential, and now the momentum.
The question is, what will he do with it?
Exactly. What will he do with it?
Will he rise to the occasion?
Yeah.
Or fade back into the shadows?
Will he be a force for change?
Or will he just disappear?
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
But he's definitely made his mark.
Oh, absolutely.
He's giving us a lot to think about.
He has.
And who knows, maybe,
Yeah.
just maybe the most unexpected figure in American politics will surprise us all.
It's possible.
Thanks for diving into this with us.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll be back next week with another deep dive into a topic you send our way.